Also, I want to talk about the thing that we were talking about yesterday, which is when you're dealing with aging parents, or really any aging family member, people who are gradually kind of losing their abilities. How do you cope with that and keep everybody safe, but at the same time keep the peace, so to speak. I'll give the example that came up yesterday was my dad got a little sick, and he was having some issues where he was desatting, he was losing oxygen, especially when he got up and walked and things like that. Now he's mostly back to normal now, or appears back to normal, but he customarily every Saturday morning he takes our two older kids out for breakfast. They'll either go to like a McDonald's, or they'll do like a little, it's like their little date together, and it's really great. Our kids look forward to it. And my dad, bless his heart, he's very like cavalier, I'll say, when it comes to his abilities. I'm not sure that I trust him to say, I don't think I can do this, or I don't feel like this is a good idea for me. I don't necessarily trust him to like be a good self monitor or manager when it comes to that, in that respect. And so I was talking to Z about it yesterday. Like, at what point is it no longer okay to ride in the car with Grandpa? How do we go about trying to judge that? Especially with somebody who we feel like would probably never say like, I don't feel like I'm capable of driving. So that's something that we're grappling with, is keeping the peace, trying to make everybody happy who we're with, but at the same time, how do we make sure that people are staying safe, and how do we make sure that, like, especially, at some point, my dad is not going to be able to do all these things, and like how do we negotiate, helping him kind of phase into like a lifestyle with lesser abilities or lesser responsibilities, if that makes sense.
So I was telling Charles that while I appreciate him trying to be quote unquote political, I don't know if there's an easy way to transition as far as taking away some of the, I guess, responsibilities that, for example, your dad has with the kiddos. And by that I mean, primarily, I guess we're talking about driving, right? In that regard.
Primarily.
And once you get to the point where you feel uncomfortable with, for example, your dad driving, I think your main priority should be the safety of everyone.
Of
so
course.
Not only of the children, but of your dad, and also the people around him, right? Who's driving next to him. And so I was telling Charles, I'm going to lean on you because you know your dad better, what his baseline, what his capabilities are a little bit better than me. But when you were asking me that question, I was like, I'm leaning on you. So I want you to go with your instincts in regards to that. And it's never going to be super comfortable, for your dad or for anyone who's older when someone tells them, I'm not comfortable with you driving anymore.
I think that's kind of par for the course, isn't it? Like older people overestimating their abilities.
Correct, right? And I get it, right? And I was telling Charles, because we went off on a little bit tangent, like, what is it about driving? And this is a little bit of a tangent, but what is it about driving that it's so difficult for a lot of elderly people to let go of? And I told him, I get it. I remember when I was younger and I crashed my car and I had to rely on people. It was not that I was depressed, but I had a little bit of a low mood because it's something about having the ability to get up and go when you want to, right? For most adults, I would say, unless you live in like a big city that has great public transportation, but for most adults, especially here in Florida, one of the things you rely on is your ability to just get up and go, right? To drive. And if you know me, I'm a person, I don't enjoy driving, but I can only imagine for someone who's been driving 40, 50 years, taking away that ability, right? You're taking a little bit of their identity, right? So going back to what we were talking about, I feel like in the parental role that you have now for your parents, it's sometimes doing what is difficult, but it's for the greater good, right? I think is really important. I think that's kind of the gist of what I was saying. And it's hard though, right? Because they are your parents and you want to be respectful of them, but sometimes they lack the judgment, and we'll probably all get to that point. So I'm not saying that we're going to forever have perfect judgment. I would hope that my children would have the, what's the word? The, not the ability, would, I hope my children would have the wisdom and the knowledge to help me make decisions as I age. With age, there does come wisdom, but at a certain age, you also, some of your decision-making skills start to decline. And that's for all of us. It will happen. So you hope there's individuals around you, whether family, friends, who can assist you with that transition, right? And we're all destined for it. That's a part of life in that regards. So I feel like for your parents, for my parents, our role is to, of course, give them as much independence as we can. But if we notice there's a decline of certain decision-making skills, I think that's our role, or I think that's my responsibility to kind of intervene and make it as respectful as possible. But it's not always going to be an easy transition.
Mm-hmm. I know with my dad, it's not that he doesn't care about the kids. He loves our kids more than anything. Yeah. Like he comes over and sees our kids every single day. Yeah. And our kids are the focus of his life.
Yes.
And so he would never intentionally put our kids in harm's way, but as Z said, when people get older, they seem to lose judgment when it comes to their own abilities. Mm-hmm. And especially people who are very independent, or
correct,
or especially people who've always felt like they can take care of themselves, and don't need other people.
I mean, it happens to me. I'm 38, and when I go to my workout class, I feel like I could do these high jumps, and then I try to, and then I'm limping 2 days after. So you can only imagine for someone who's in their 70s, their 80s, right? So it happens to all of us, I think, to some degree. It's just, when you start reaching my age, it's just interesting to think how the roles have kind of reversed, right? You're the child at one point, and then you're in your late teens, early 20s, and you're not even thinking about their parents. They're still doing their own thing. And then as you start to, I think, really get into your 30s, and definitely in your 40s and beyond, you start taking on more of an active role in the, I would like to say mature, in the mature, or older relatives, right? And it's just interesting to me how the roles change as you navigate life, right? So.
Yep. And for us, it's something that we're going to be involved in for a long time in our new house that we're building. We've built a wing for my dad, which is going to be new because right now he's in a separate house on our property, and the next house he has kind of his own wing of the house, which it's got its own entrance and all that stuff, but he's got a place he can park so he doesn't have to see us if he's mad at us.
So he still has his independence and all of that. Yeah. But I am glad that with our move, that we decided to stay together, right? And that we have the setup, we have the ability or the privilege to have the setup that we currently have. I think it is important.
And so with that, leave us some comments down below. Tell us, what you've dealt with your, trying to accommodate your aging parents, aging family members, and also let us know if you have any ideas for other videos that we should do around that topic. I think this is something we haven't really mined into that much yet, but it's something that we talk about all the time, so I think you're going to hear more about it.
Yeah. Anyway, remember to like and subscribe down below. Until next time, you guys.